Hi, how are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
What's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode episode number 69 today for the Austrian Grand Prix in Season 4, and we have an engine upgrade fitted to the car. We purchased this at the end of the last episode, so if you did miss that episode, be sure to go check that one out before you see this one at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in episode 68, but we purchased that upgrade at the end of that race, and it is being installed into the car now for Austria. So, going ahead to practice, you can see eking out as much as we can on column 1, although you can see for the internal combustion engine and the turbocharger, we have to keep on with column 2. So those two appear to be the worst affected parts on the engine for our car at the moment. And actually, due to the fuel efficiency, unlike Season 3, the MGUK and MGUH are actually one of the best parts of the car, actually, because we're not using too much rich mix during the races, because actually the car is so fuel efficient that we don't need to fill up so much fuel and constantly burn it off during the race. So yeah, in terms of that, definitely a different dynamic, although it's still a Renault engine in the back of our car, remember. It's just branded as Tag Heuer. But we move on swiftly then to qualifying. Went through the practice programs, of course, as usual. Don't need to really keep on saying it every single time, every single episode. But we move into Q1 then. Overcast conditions at the moment. You can see that little one spot of rain that just came across your screen. So it's starting to rain at the moment already. Just light drizzle. And so we come across the line to set our first flying lap. And that's going to be good enough to get us into Q2 in P12. Ricardo P6. And by the time we move into Q2, those little droplets of rain have now come down fully, and it's now fully raining intermediate conditions. You can see sliding away into turn 1, because actually, although we're on the intermediate, the conditions, it hasn't been raining for so long. You know, the gap between Q1 and Q2 is not so big, so actually the grip on these inters was terrible at the start of this session, so much so that we go off the circuit on the painted stuff on the Pirelli zone there at the end of Sector 1. We continue on though, because I fueled up the car for a few more laps, because that was my original plan anyway, to go a little bit longer into the session on the same set of tyres, a little bit more fuel in the car, and just keep on reducing the delta time that we have on the top right there. So you can see at the moment Hulkenberg going very well indeed, setting the provisional fastest time in Q2. Of course, there's still the top 10 shootout there, as I was about to say provisional pole, but still plenty to go until we actually shoot out for the pole position time. But we come across the line to improve even more up into P8, and we're going to improve even more so on the exit, although it looks pretty pedestrian. You can see on the exit then getting even more time, and then through to the end of our third and final lap here in Q2, we find even more time as we come across the line, skating across, and we're up into P5, then P6 actually that'll be, and it's going to end up being P6 at the end of the session. So our qualifying Ricardo then, he's still into the top 10, so good to see P9, but you can see actually surprisingly, I was surprised myself really, that we found more time than Ricardo out there, but I think definitely that's the way to go when you've got those conditions, just go out for longer on a few more laps. But going into Q3 then, you can see the rain is a lot heavier now, and actually grip, although you can see I go a little bit wayward, a little bit of a, oversteer on the exit, it actually generally felt actually better during the corners, because there was a bit more rain to actually work with on the inters. It wasn't like I was searching for rain on the kind of half-damp circuit in Q2, so the car actually felt more stable in Q3, although the lap times beg to differ at the moment. Not amazing in P3 though, ahead of Esteban Ocon at least. And then through into turn 1, again, I fueled up for more, but annoyingly, I make a really, really annoying mistake there. Go on the curbing on the on the left rear tyre, and just spin up the car, lose the front wing on the half the front wing on the left front, and the damage repair time is so much so, nearly 2 minutes that unfortunately we're going to run out of time to actually go out again for even a low fuel run. So whatever I end up being on that first lap time is going to be where I am, and unfortunately for me, that ends up being P10. So, yeah, bad day in the office on Saturday. Mistake there, and that's just completely my mistake there. So, I need to own up to it. So, we have to try and do some work now from P10 behind Jolyon Palmer, the two Force Indies then, and Ricardo, best of the rest pretty much in P6. But Nico Hulkenberg once again showing off that he's trying his best to keep up with the Ferrari cars there in third place. But Ferrari won too, so the Ferrari's going very well indeed. Remember, last season, in Season 3, the Ferraris, if it wasn't for Vettel's mistakes, the Ferraris were very, very strong around here at Austria. But of course, going into this race, myself and Vettel are level on points. So from P10, he's on pole position. Probably, you gotta say, we're probably going to be losing the lead of this championship unless I can finish ahead of him, and that's hopefully what I'm hoping for. You know, you never know. Bad luck. Vettel's had plenty of bad luck, and if we can get a good enough start, everything's possible. I still think this car can perform well. Of course, we didn't drive this car in anger in dry conditions in Q2 or Q3 on dry tyres, so we're yet to see really what the true pace of this car is like. So here's hoping it's good enough to maybe try and challenge up for the podium minimum. So let's go to the full grid then, and then let's check out what we can do in the race.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Kimi Räikkönen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hülkenberg, Bottas, Lewis Hamilton and Ricciardo, Perez, Ocon, Palmer and a Red Bull, Grosjean, Sainz, Felipe Massa and Kvyat, Magnussen, Stroll, Fernando Alonso and Pascal Wehrlein. Ericsson and Stoffel van Dorn completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right, so from P10 then on the grid, in terms of race strategy, of course, everyone open to whatever tyre they want, as we all qualified on intermediate in Q2, so free choice there. We're going to start on the Ultra Softs, and one stop should be available to us going to the soft tyres right to the end, so pretty much the same strategy the Ferrari cars did, I believe, last season. So that's what we're going to go for, filling up on fuel. The default actually put us way low on fuel, like literally a couple of laps lower than fuel, which is very optimistic there, so I bumped that up a little bit, just a little bit over-fueled the car, so we can use Rich Mix as per usual as we go then to 5 red lights to the Austrian Grand Prix. Round number 9 of Season 4 is underway as the lights go out, and that is a pretty poor start actually from us, as well as Daniel Ricciardo, so maybe a Red Bull issue. Both our launches not amazing, as he's now trying to re-overtake Ocon around the outside, and Perez has been sent wide as well as Palmer, so we've gained on that. We've gone down the inside of all 3 of them, and we're up into P7 now. And now we're going to try and overtake Lewis Hamilton if we can, who's had a really poor start as well, as we've got cars going side by side up ahead. Bottas and a Ferrari car. Raikkonen, there's been contact between the 2 Finns, and Raikkonen has been punted off by Bottas. We're down the inside of both of them, and we're up into P4 now. Meanwhile, though, for the lead of this Grand Prix, it's Nico Hülkenberg with a fantastic start down the inside of Sebastian Vettel. He's on the Super Softs, Vettel on the Ultra Softs, so Hülkenberg going longer in this Grand Prix, trying to make a definite one-stop work, I would say, for the Renault team, and he's up into the lead of this Grand Prix, and Hülkenberg is looking very, very good at the start of that race. And so we're in P4 then, Bottas in P3, punted off Raikkonen, not too sure where he is right now, but Ocon is the one behind us then, followed by Lewis Hamilton, who got boxed in pretty much by myself and Ocon then. But now as we move on through the laps, Hamilton down the inside of Esteban Ocon to try and overtake him, and Raikkonen desperately trying to get back in this Grand Prix. He's got some damage on his front wing, and Ocon not giving him any room on the left to breathe, and now Hamilton tries to send it down the inside, but Ocon comes back at him round the outside, which will turn to the inside for the next corner. So the Force India doing well to fight back against effectively the senior team, really, as obviously they get supplied Mercedes engines, but Ocon is trying his best, and Hamilton just not able to do it yet, but now maybe so, still nose to tail. As you can see, Ocon there just about got enough of his car ahead of Hamilton to avoid some room there, but Hamilton eventually does squeeze out the Frenchman, and he's up the order, and that will be now what will be P5, Ocon P6, and there's a bit of contact there, and there's an engine failure. Oh, there's huge contact. Oh, Sergio Perez out this Grand Prix. He's been slammed into the wall by Raikkonen, and is that a full safety car? I think that it must be, surely. Yeah, full safety car has been called out. That was a huge collision then. And let's look at a replay then. So in the background of the live action, we saw it looked like an engine failure for Perez, and then he was punted off by Raikkonen. And so, oh my God, that is very unlucky for Sergio Perez, and a little bit airborne is the Mexican into the wall. But yeah, you can see that, look, it was an engine failure for Perez that slowed him down, and so that's what caused Raikkonen to slam into his left front tyre. And unfortunately for Ricciardo, our teammate, he was also met with some domino effecting from Perez and lost a bit of his front wing. So Ricciardo probably isn't going to have too much good pace in the rest of this Grand Prix until he makes a pit stop to change that front wing. So on the restart, pretty poor restart from us, as we got brake checked by Bottas then as we went green flag racing. So we're going to keep in P4 for now, but it's nose to tail between first to third then. Hülkenberg still leading the way from Sebastian Vettel to Valtteri Bottas, and Hamilton behind us in P5 closing up. There goes Bottas though for P2 in this Grand Prix. Vettel sparking away in P2, defence to the inside. Meanwhile, Hülkenberg is just about ahead, but Bottas is still there around the outside, getting the elbows out on the exit on the curbing, and he's done a fabulous job to make the move around the outside then. Very, very odd, unorthodox place to make make a move around the outside at that hairpin corner. Generally, the inside line is the much better way to go, and so he's made it work, and that's a tremendous pass, and so he's into P2, and now look at that, he's actually around the outside maybe of Nico Hülkenberg now. So Bottas this evening is loving the round the outside passes, and he's up into P1 I think just about. Yes he is, as Hülkenberg has to tuck him behind. So the Mercedes car clearly of Bottas kicking it into rich mix probably after the safety cars come in, as we close right up to Vettel, and he's actually been brake checked a little bit by Hülkenberg. We've made a little bit of contact with him, and so he's gone a little bit wide actually, and so I don't exactly know what went on there. I don't know if that was completely my fault, but he's gone very slow now on the exit, and now the Force India is coming off on the left. I don't think that was my fault. I think he's got an issue, because now the Force India is going to go cleanly sailing round the outside. Esteban Ocon done brilliantly so far in this Grand Prix to fend off Hamilton, and now he's up the order now. Well, I say fend off Hamilton, I mean re-overtake Hamilton. Obviously he was actually behind the fellow Brit of ours, but he's overtaken him clearly, and now he's overtaken Vettel. And now look at this, Hamilton now making the move to the inside, dive bomb down the inside of the German, and Vettel for sure you got to say has an issue. He's on ultra softs, maybe his tyres are going off, but he's also probably got a car issue at the moment, because he's just going down at a rate of knots. The Haas car not too far back as well, and they both have DRS actually, but Hamilton now keeping to the inside. Vettel with a really bad lock up on the front right, and you can see just about keeps ahead of the Haas car there. So I think once again issues for Sebastian Vettel's Ferrari car. How surprising indeed. So now we move on later into this race. Hülkenberg now in P2, closing back up to Valtteri Bottas. So clearly maybe Bottas running out of rich mix now, and here comes the German in the yellow banana car down the inside, no, round the outside actually. He goes for it just like Bottas did to Vettel, and he's going to maybe make it stick, get the elbows out, and Hülkenberg, I think he's going to do this. This is absolutely awesome stuff. Two outside passes there at the hairpin, up the hill into sector 2. How do you like that? That's absolutely awesome. Great racing for the race lead in the opening stage of this Grand Prix, in the opening stint, as we move now across towards lap 12 now, and we're up into P2 as Bottas has come in now early from the ultra soft tyres. Of course, Hülkenberg, as I mentioned, on the super softs going longer, trying to make that one stop work, but just like the Force Indias did effectively last season, we're going to try our best to match Hülkenberg as well and go long. But we move on to the end of lap 13, and actually the tyre wear is a bit too much. The pace is dropping off dramatically, and I feel like I can maybe even try and get an undercut potentially on Hülkenberg, because his super softs won't be performing too much better than me, and he'll be coming literally into the pit stops as well in maybe a lap or two's time. So we're going to try and get an undercut if we can on him, or at least get a little bit closer and close up that gap, because he was pretty much an entire straight ahead of us then. So at the moment looking pretty damn pretty in what is a really good third place. Obviously Vettel down the order now, and so like I said, we needed to maybe hope we're going to get ahead somehow of Vettel, and off pole position he's just gone backwards once again. Of course he was already down to P3 minimum after Bottas and Hülkenberg did fantastically to overtake him, but then some luck came our way, and seemingly he has some sort of issue, because he's way down the order now at the very tail end of the points. We come out just ahead of our teammate Daniel Ricciardo then, and we are on the soft tyres. We're going to go to the end of this race then, and you can see on the top left pretty much everyone opting for the soft tyres. So I think everyone is trying the one stop, and now we move on to lap 17. So 3 laps later from lap 14, and we have definitely closed up on Hülkenberg. So the undercut has worked out, because we definitely were not this close to what was the race leader at that point in time. Now I believe it's Valtteri Bottas, but Bottas is on another set of ultra soft tyres, or potentially super soft tyres. All I know is I think Bottas is the only one in this Grand Prix trying the two-stop, at least in the top flight. The rest of us, Hamilton, myself, Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, Vettel, Kimi, I think we're all trying the one-stop, because we're all on soft tyres now. But anyways, here we go in DRS range of Hülkenberg. We've got the rear flap open, rich mix is flowing, and we're going to try and make a dive for the inside for P2 in this Grand Prix, as Hülkenberg locks up on the front right tyre, as well as us as well. So both of us with smoke coming off our front ends of the cars as we go toe-to-toe now towards the next section. We're going to have to try and hang this round the outside, use the Red Bull downforce to good effect, and we are actually going to make it round the outside. Probably something that wasn't possible in last year's Renault car, but with the Red Bull downforce, trying our best and hardest to keep this through and try to be a thorn in Hülkenberg's plans this afternoon, as he wanted to maybe try and get after Bottas, but we're going to try and spoil the party down the inside the final corner, swoop across, skate across almost his front end, and we're up into P2, and you can see confirmation there. Bottas is on the ultra soft tyre, so he's definitely doing a two-stop this afternoon. So effectively we would be in a net P1, as Bottas would make a pit stop and come out behind us, but we've gone a little bit wide on on the exit of turn 1, you saw got a bit of oversteer, and so that's compromised our straight line speed as Hulkenberg tries to make a move. We defend to the inside now. Hulkenberg, we know he made a really good move earlier on the Grand Prix around the outside, and he's going to make another one. I don't know how on earth he's doing it, and how on earth Bottas did it last time out. We locked up on the right front, which would have helped him out there, but still, to get it around the outside there and just about squeeze through and get the traction down is really impressive, but we send it back down the inside of the same corner we initially made this move on Hulkenberg. Swipe across his front, go to the left-hand side a little bit to defend, and we're back up into P2 then. And so this has really turned into a fabulous ding-dong battle with my former teammate Nico Hulkenberg there, and it's not over yet. Into the left-hander, going really quite wide, understeering as my tyres not fully complying with me and what I wanted to do there. Probably highly stressed from trying to go around the outside previously on the last lap, but now we have to try and defend. Hulkenberg is back down our inside, and he's got it back for P2, so we're just swapping positions left, right and centre, and all the while this is playing into Bottas' hands and also Lewis Hamilton behind us in P4. We've got DRS, we're going to try and make a move once again. We're going to go to the inside now. Hulkenberg again has locked up on the front right, so that's not going to really be doing him any good. He's locked up so much on that front right there. That's probably very, very punished by now, and so we go defensive. We're sticking to the racing line, and Hulkenberg is unable just to have enough confidence to send it down the inside. Then he was looking again for the outside move, but we didn't go defensive. We didn't let him have that move, and so we're going to keep P1 for now, actually, as Bottas has now made his pit stop now. So as I said, we're in a net P1. We are an actual P1 now, and Hulkenberg's P2, and Hamilton in P3, and I imagine Bottas now is out in P4 then on a set of super soft tyres, I would imagine, trying to go to the end of this Grand Prix now on that 2-stop. But now here comes Hulkenberg once again now down the inside to try and take the race lead away from us. We're going to try our best to hang it around the outside, but you can see just shoved off a little bit, and Hulkenberg is into the lead this Grand Prix once again. We tuck him behind in second place, getting a waft of dirty air, and as we move on to the next lap 25, Hamilton makes no wasted time to go down the inside to try and take P2 then from me, and he's done it quite successfully. He shoves us off onto the curbing then. We were going a little bit wide to give him some room, but then he just takes it that and some more, and he's up into P2 now, down to P3, as Sebastian Vettel now sits the fast lap of the Grand Prix. So obviously he sorted his issues, is now trying to get back in this Grand Prix as we send it down the inside. Hamilton goes off circuit to keep ahead in P2 then, so interesting line there from our fellow Brit, and he just about manages to leave us enough room on the right hand side. We almost got squeezed onto the grass, but we'll send it down the inside just like we did against Nico Hulkenberg and try and force him wide if we can. He does go wide in the curbing, he's come back, oh God, so contact's made, and we've lost half our front wing. Hamilton, what on earth have you done, man? We've broken half our front wing. Hamilton's gone wide, come back a little bit, kind of jolting back on circuit and punted us into the wall. Of course, we're going so fast in that section and accelerating, there's no way I was able to control that. And, well, we're going to have to make an extra pit stop now. So, it's calamities for us. Disaster in this race now, as we're looking for a really good podium, battling for the lead of this Grand Prix. And now we make a very slow pit stop on the front wing. We're onto a set of ultra soft tyres, of course, and now we've got 10 laps left exactly in this Grand Prix to go and chase after, well, Sebastian Vettel, who's in P6 now. So I guess the F1 racing gods have kind of balanced that out in terms of Vettel had issues earlier on this Grand Prix. Now I've had a major issue, and so now I'm actually down to now P8. We've got to overtake Grosjean before we even think about getting on towards chasing after Vettel, but Vettel is miles ahead at this stage of the Grand Prix. Even though Vettel did have issues, he only made one pit stop in this Grand Prix. Meanwhile now for the race lead, I think this is, no, it's actually going to be Julian Palmer trying to overtake Lewis Hamilton. Palmer is going to try and make it a 1-2 for Renault. This is absolutely fabulous and crazy to witness. Look at that, Palmer up around the outside, and he's into P2, and Hamilton doesn't actually have anything to answer for it. So it's a 1-2 for Renault and a 3-4 for Mercedes. And now the man on a 2-stop, Valtteri Bottas, is coming to charge to overtake his teammate then on the left-hand side. So is he going to go for another move to the outside of this corner? I think he will do. I think that's Bottas' new favourite move around this circuit, and he is going to do it on the super soft tyres. And so could this be a fabulous drive for Bottas? He's got the two Renaults in his sight down the road, and he's going to make no wasted time to overtake Julian Palmer now down the outside. Actually faked to the inside, went round the outside again, so it's another move in the same place of the circuit, and he's up into P2. Bottas is absolutely flying there. He's the flying Finn at the moment. He is, and he's up into second place, and he wants the win. He wants the win. He's got the pace for it for sure. As now we move back to our POV, we're on lap 27 now, and so we've got only a couple laps left in this Grand Prix to try and get past Grosjean and then see what we can do to maybe erode Vettel's gap ahead of us. We go down the inside, lock up on the right tyre, but we should have the grip maybe. No, not quite. And so we have to tuck in behind, and Grosjean goes defensive, and he's going to give us a wash of dirty air. You can see turning in, trying to get the turn in, and Grosjean just brake checks us. And that's so frustrating, you know, just want to get past him so I can see what I can do now in fresh air on these sides to maybe catch Vettel. You never know. Vettel has another issue. We could be catching him this afternoon, but down the inside now, eventually we'll get this pass done. We'll swoop across if we can to the last corner, just like we did against Hulkenberg, and we'll finally get that just about. Grosjean still tries to keep it in there, but we're up into P7, and actually look at that. Oh my god, this is actually infuriating now. Grosjean tries to send down the inside, he does so, and we have to go side by side into turn 1, and only now will we finally get that. So Romain Grosjean, thank you very much for being very annoying to us. And so now we're finally up into P7, and Vettel is miles ahead with only what is now, that will be 8 laps left in the Grand Prix. Now we move back to this top 5, and Bottas now onto the main straight, down the pit straight, DRS open to the outside of turn 1, and he's got it. That's surely got to be his book place into P1 this Grand Prix. So Bottas now leads the Austrian Grand Prix, and for P2 it's not Nico Hulkenberg, it's his teammate Jolyon Palmer on the outside there on the right hand side, and he's overtaken his teammate. He's up into P2. Fabulous job there for Palmer, and I think Hulkenberg has some issues now after being overtaken by Bottas. Meanwhile now, last dying stages onto the last lap of the Grand Prix. This is Vettel round the outside of Esteban Ocon then to get up one more place. So that's quite crucial for us, because that's one more point he's going to be getting. And so that's P5 for him then, or a P6 actually I should say. No, P5, yeah, P5, I was correct. P5, Ocon P6, and I finish up in P7. Unfortunately for me today, a bit of a torrid day for us. It was looking so good until that contact with Hamilton then. And so a fabulous win for Valtteri Bottas. Palmer, again, a podium. 2 podiums in a row then for Jolyon Palmer. Dare I say, he's finding some momentum. I don't want to jinx it, but Palmer, he's looking good these days. Looking good. Hamilton in P3 then, and Hulkenberg confirmed to have issues. Down to P4 then. Vettel P5, Ocon P6, P7 for us, and so that is going to be us losing the lead of the Drivers' World Championship. But it's not all doom and gloom. Remember, as I said last episode, you know, to be in this position we are without having even won a race, we're doing amazingly. If I do say so myself, I think we're doing fabulously this season to drag this Red Bull car up this high into P2 at the moment against Vettel. Hulkenberg in P3 then moves up ahead of Kimi after Kimi just went backwards and backwards, obviously, after that contact he made with Sergio Perez. Hamilton up into P5 then ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Ricciardo with that front wing damage off Perez pretty much never had a chance at this Grand Prix, but it's all still so hot in this championship as we come quite quickly on to halfway through Season 4. In the Constructors, we're still P2 then behind Scuderia Ferrari, but that was, despite the bad race for us, that was a really exciting race to watch back. Some fabulous moves around the outside for Bottas, and just for the race lead, so much action for the race lead. Fantastic to see 4 different teams fighting every single race. So guys, if you have enjoyed that, smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been Aarava. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.